It was well past midnight when Claire Dalton, CEO of Dalton Technologies and one of Manhattan's most respected tech executives, stood barefoot in the hallway of her luxury high-rise apartment building, staring at the door that had just locked. Behind her, the click still echoed in her ears like a cruel joke. Her silk blouse clung to her back with the weight of July humidity, and all she had in her possession was a half-eaten box of truffle pasta, cold, congealed, and meant to be her solitary comfort food after a brutal day. Her purse, her phone, her keys all inside. She had stepped out for just 1 second to check on a noise in the hallway, and the automatic door had sealed shut like a vault. Claire exhaled sharply and slumped against the wall. Her spine met the cool marble with a dull thud. No phone, no shoes, no one to call, and the echoes of the board meeting still rang in her head, voices raised, her own trembling when she fired Jacob, her VP of development, the man who once toasted with her on the day they launched. Now, she was just stuck, barefoot and tired, a glamorous wreck. That's when she heard it, the soft creak of stroller wheels and the whisper of a lullaby. She lifted her head and squinted down the hallway. Emerging from the dim light of the elevator vestibule was a man in a faded gray hoodie, pushing a worn stroller. Inside it, a little girl with a pink blanket clutched a well-loved teddy bear, her thumb in her mouth. The man slowed when he saw Claire and gave her a cautious but kind look. "You okay, ma'am?" he asked, adjusting the blanket over the little girl's shoulder. Claire straightened, tucking a lock of hair behind her ear. "Locked out. No phone, no keys, and I guess no dignity either," he chuckled softly, crouching beside the stroller. "Well, dignity is overrated." She allowed herself a smirk. "So, is this pasta? Want some?" The man hesitated, then eased himself to the floor, keeping a respectful distance, the stroller parked between them. "I'm Ryan," he said. "That's Ella. She's had nightmares this week." Midnight walk seemed to help. Claire leaned forward and waved gently. "Hi, Ella." The little girl peeked from her blanket, gave a sleepy nod, and burrowed deeper into her teddy bear. "Do you live here?" Claire asked, suddenly curious. "5th floor," he said. "Been here about 6 months. Just trying to get back on my feet." There was a quiet pride in his voice, something resilient beneath the tiredness. "So you're between jobs?" she asked gently. "I fix things, fences, appliances, doors. Worked with HVAC systems for years before the company folded. Since then, a little bit of everything. Single dad life." He offered a small dry smile. Claire blinked, touched by the honesty. Here was a man raising a daughter alone, navigating city life with worn shoes and midnight lullabies, and still kind enough to sit with a stranger. They sat in companionable silence, the kind that doesn't need filling. Then Ryan stood. "Let me try something," he said. He rummaged in the stroller's undercarriage and pulled out a bent metal hanger. "Learned a few things in building maintenance," he added with a wink. Claire watched in a mix of amusement and awe as he crouched beside her apartment door and worked the hanger with careful precision. After 2 minutes, there was a soft click, the kind of sound that makes your shoulders drop in relief. "You just unlocked it," she whispered. He stood, grinning. "Guess the old tricks still work." Claire burst into laughter, the kind that bubbled up from months of exhaustion and pent-up frustration. "You might have just saved my sanity." "Glad to be of service," he said, stepping back. She hesitated. The words hung in her throat before she finally said, "Wait, I should thank you properly. Coffee? Breakfast? Tomorrow?" Ryan looked down at Ella, who had dozed off again, her tiny hand gripping his finger. He smiled. "I'd like that, but only if you're okay with crayons on the table." "I insist on it," she replied. The next morning, the corner cafe smell of cinnamon and burnt espresso. Claire showed up in jeans and sneakers, her hair pulled into a simple ponytail. Ryan wore the same hoodie. Ella sat between them, drawing suns and stick figures on a paper placemat. They talked about nothing, about everything, about music, cartoons, toaster repairs, and what happens when your whole life feels like it's balancing on the edge of a deadline. For the first time in months, Claire didn't check her phone. Halfway through breakfast, Ryan looked up and asked, "So, What do you do exactly? Claire hesitated, a little sheepish. I run a tech company. Ryan tilted his head, curious. Well, a few actually. I'm Claire Dalton. His eyes widened. The Claire Dalton? She gave a modest shrug, almost embarrassed. I don't usually get locked out. He laughed a full, genuine laugh that made Ella giggle too. Well, he said, taking a sip of coffee. Good to know CEOs need rescuing sometimes too. 3 months later, Ryan was working full-time as a facilities consultant for Claire's new philanthropic venture, the Ella Initiative, offering vocational training and career paths to single parents across the city. His idea, her funding, no pity, no power games, just partnership. Their connection grew over slow mornings, bedtime stories, and the kind of shared humanity that doesn't need to be named. And sometimes, when Ella begged for a story before bed, Claire would sit beside her and tell the one about the night a powerful CEO got locked out of her apartment and let a little kindness in. One crisp autumn evening, as Claire left the office later than usual, she stepped out to find Ryan waiting by the building's curb, Ella perched on his shoulders, laughing. But just as Claire reached them, a black SUV pulled up and stopped. The window rolled down slowly. From inside, a voice Claire hadn't heard in over a year said, "Hello, Claire. We need to talk." Her breath caught. It was Jacob, the former VP she had fired. And his smile wasn't friendly. Claire hadn't seen Jacob in over a year, not since the day she fired him in the glass-walled boardroom where voices rose louder than reason. That day, he stormed out without looking back. Now, here he was, in a black SUV with tinted windows, his features slick with charm and something far colder underneath. "Hello, Claire," he said again, voice smooth as ever. "We need to talk." Ryan instinctively stepped closer, one hand on Ella's knee as she sat on his shoulders, giggling unaware. Claire's heart pounded, not just from surprise, but from the quiet danger in Jacob's tone. "I don't think now is the time," Claire said, spine straightening. Jacob's eyes flicked to Ryan, then to Ella, and back to Claire. "Tomorrow, then. At my office. I have a proposal you'll want to hear." "I doubt that," she replied, turning away. "Come alone," Jacob called as the window rolled up. The SUV pulled into traffic and disappeared. Ensure to subscribe to this channel. Back in Claire's penthouse, she paced. Ryan leaned in the doorway to her kitchen, arms crossed, eyes tracking her movements. Ella was already asleep in the guest room, her teddy tucked under one arm. "Want to tell me who that was?" he finally asked. She paused. "Jacob Myers, my ex-VP. He was like family once. Helped me build Dalton Tech from the ground up. And now, I found out he was manipulating numbers, inflating projections, risking everything we built. I let him go." Ryan raised an eyebrow. "You fired him? Alone?" "I had to," she said softly. "He would have taken the company down with him if I hadn't acted fast. But I didn't expect to see him again, definitely not pulling up like some mob boss." Ryan looked at her for a long moment. "You don't have to go." "I do," she said. "If he's back, and bold enough to show up like that, he's up to something. And I need to know what." He didn't like it, she could see it in the tight set of his jaw. But he nodded. "Then I'm coming with you." "You can't," he said alone. Ryan stepped forward. "Then I'll be across the street, watching." That brought a flicker of warmth to her chest. He didn't argue. He didn't challenge her authority. He just stood close, solid as ever. A quiet fortress in a storm she hadn't seen coming. The next morning, Claire arrived at the high-rise office Jacob had texted, a glass tower near Central Park. She wore her usual armor black blazer, tailored slacks, sleek heels, but her fingers twitched slightly as she pressed the elevator button. Ryan stood across the street, leaning against a light pole with the coffee in hand, eyes locked on the door. The receptionist let her through with a nervous glance. "He's expecting you." Jacob's office was sterile and glossy, floor-to-ceiling windows, a single orchid on the desk, and Jacob himself, standing behind it like he hadn't burned every bridge. "Nice of you to come," he said. "Cut to the point, Jacob." He smiled and slid a folder across the desk. This is what I'm offering. You'll want to take a look." Claire opened it. Her hand stilled. Inside were images, screenshots, emails, documents, some dated years back, some from inside her company. "You've been spying?" she said sharply. Jacob's grin widened. "I never stopped caring about the company. You think you're safe now, building your cute little foundation with the handyman and the kid. You have no idea who's still loyal to me." Claire stood, fists clenched. "This is blackmail," he said smoothly. "This is business. I want back in, full partnership, or these documents go public." Her heart thundered. Jacob knew things that could be twisted, taken out of context, enough to tank Dalton Tech's valuation and destroy years of trust. But worse, it could put Ryan and Ella, her new life, under scrutiny. He took a deep breath. "I need time." "You have 48 hours, Jacob said. "And Claire?" She paused at the door. "Tell your new boy to stop tailing you. He's not as invisible as he thinks." Claire left the building shaken. Ryan was already beside her before she crossed the street. "You're pale. What happened?" She looked up at him, her voice barely above a whisper. "He has something on me." "On the company? On us?" Ryan's jaw tightened. "Then we fight back." "How?" she asked. That's when Ryan's phone buzzed in his hoodie pocket. He pulled it out and froze. His face changed. Claire stared. "Ryan? What is it?" He handed her the phone. A message from an unknown number. Just 5 words. "You're next. Walk away now." Claire stared at the message on Ryan's phone. "You're next. Walk away now." The blood in her veins turned cold. Ryan took the phone back, fingers tightening around it. "He's bluffing." "No," Claire murmured. "Jacob doesn't bluff. He manipulates, lies, corners people into impossible choices, but he doesn't bluff." Ryan's voice dropped to a hard edge. "Then I'm not walking away. Let him come after me. I've had worse." Claire's head snapped up. "I won't let you risk Ella's safety." From Ryan's expression changed, jaw flexing. "And I won't let you stand in that boardroom alone again." They were silent for a moment, the New York noise filling the space between them, honking taxis, the rustle of wind, a faint siren in the distance. Then Ryan asked, "What exactly is Jacob holding over you?" Claire hesitated. "Years ago, I authorized a workaround in one of our AI frameworks, a minor patch we used to accelerate rollout. It wasn't dangerous, but it wasn't fully compliant. Jacob found out. I fixed it long ago, but if he leaks it without context, the press will eat it up." Ryan blew out a breath. "So he's holding your past over your head to steal your future?" "Exactly." "And what about me?" he asked, voice softer now. "Why threaten me?" Claire met his eyes. "Because I've finally let someone in, and he knows that's where it'll hurt most." Back at Claire's penthouse that night, Ryan cooked dinner while Ella danced in socked feet across the hardwood floor. Claire sat at the kitchen island, watching them, her heart caught in a strange in-between peace and panic. She had built a world of steel and strategy. Now, this small, chaotic trio was the only real thing she had. After dinner, when Ella was fast asleep under a blanket of stars projected on her ceiling, Claire found Ryan on the rooftop, leaning against the railing. "You know," he said without turning around, "you didn't ask why I'm so good with hangers and locks." She joined him. "Because I already knew there was more to your story." He glanced at her. "Before HBAC and maintenance gigs, I did a stint in juvie. Dumb stuff. Petty theft. No one got hurt. Just a kid trying to survive with no dad. No structure, no clue. I got out, turned it around. But it follows you, no matter how far you run." Claire's voice was quiet. "Thank you for trusting me with that." Ryan looked down at the street below. "We're not so different, Claire. Both of us built lives we're proud of. And both of us have shadows waiting to ruin it." She leaned into him slightly. "Then maybe we fight our shadows together." The next day, Claire made a decision. At 9:57 a.m., she walked into Jacob's office alone, but not unarmed. She slid a flash drive across his desk. "Before you go public with those files, you should know something." Jacob raised an eyebrow. "Oh, there's a full audit underway on Dalton Tech's early systems. Voluntary. I'm announcing it this afternoon. Full transparency." "No." Secrets. No fear. Whatever you're holding will come out on our terms, not yours. He scoffed. You'd destroy your own stock? No, she said. I'm saving my integrity. Jacob's eyes narrowed. You really think a company run on guilt and goodwill can survive? She smiled. No, but a company run on purpose can. And I'm not alone anymore. He stared at her, realizing she was serious, that his hold on her was gone. And when Claire walked out, she didn't look back. 2 weeks later, the Ella Initiative officially launched in a sunlit Brooklyn community center. Ryan stood beside Claire at the podium, Ella on his hip with glitter on her cheeks. City officials, press, and tech executives filled the room. Claire introduced Ryan as her lead advisor and co-director. The crowd applauded, but all Claire saw was the pride in his eyes. When the ceremony ended, she found Ryan in a quiet hallway, wiping juice off Ella's dress. You sure you want me front and center in this? He asked. Claire cupped his cheek. I don't want anyone else beside me. Their lips met softly, naturally, with the promise neither had dared speak until now. That night, as the city buzzed below, Claire told Ella the story again, how she once got locked out barefoot with only cold pasta and a tired heart. But this time, Ella asked something new. Did the lady ever get locked out again? Claire smiled. No, sweetheart, not after that night, because someone made sure her door always stayed open. Yawned. Was it the nice man? Claire kissed her forehead. Yes, it was always him.